Hey, y'all, welcome to Challenge Accepted, the podcast where we challenge each other to a new movie or TV show every week, and we give our immediate reactions to the latest and greatest. I am Frank, and I'm joined by Thomas.
Aloha, everybody. We're jumping back into the neighborhood. Well,
Yes, we
kind of the same neighborhood, but a different one. We'll talk about it.
We're talking about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man right now, first episode and second episode. What are your thoughts on this immediately? Like, because we were watching this hot off the trails of seeing the episodes. What are your
Yeah.
vibes?
I liked it. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It's pretty fun. I like the portrayal of Peter Parker in this. It's like similar in ways we're familiar with, but different. I really liked the animation. I thought it looked kind of cool the way it was like 2D-ish, but still had 3D elements.
Yeah.
But still kind of flowed nice. It wasn't choppy. And then I like the addition of all these new characters that have been in the Marvel comics for a while, but have not been seen in any type of like TV show or anything. So I thought it was cool, like that addition of them. So yeah, I think we have different opinions on this one though, which is kind of rare.
Right. So first off, the animation, I was interested in that probably the most going into this. I was not a fan of it because the frame rate seems a little too low to where it does make it extra choppy for me. And their use of over reliance on computer generation makes the 2D images feel cheapened by how 3D they are. It's like everything you're saying. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they do this panning shot over the school a couple times, and I'm just like, it just looks so cheap. Like if you guys would just actually animate that, would look clean. Newer seasons of Futurama
Yeah.
do it a lot now too. And then
I do notice that with Futurama, you're saying like there's like a different style. Like it doesn't feel like it used to be, but
yeah.
to me, it didn't really bother me because I was seeing the shots side by side of like the Spider-Man we got from Tom Holland Spider-Man. And I'm like, oh, it looks pretty good. Like I
see,
really
yeah.
like the Queens, when it was like Queens, it looks just like the one from Spider-Man. What is it? Coming home? Homecoming.
Homecoming. Yeah.
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I was. Yeah.
I like the new characters. You know who I didn't care for was Peter Parker. He seems kind of like a
Oh.
flat character to me, but I really liked Aunt May and I really liked Norman Osborn. He's voiced by Coleman Domingo from Fear the Walking Dead. He's so badass.
Yeah.
Really good
And
supporting cast, but I
Euphoria.
think the main character is kind of just not that fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think he's still kind of building his own. I mean, Peter's kind of sheepish and he's kind of shy, but I like
Yeah.
this version where he's not completely like he's still a nerd, but he kind of is cool. He's that friend who's a jock, and he
Yeah.
automatically likes him because he's smart. I like that change in it. I thought that was cool. And then Nico Minora, like for anybody who's ever read the Runaways, which I've read a ton of Runaways back in the day, and then if you played Marvel's Midnight Suns, she's a big part of it too. She's such a cool character. Like the
Yeah.
way they use her cards and her like combat stuff is sick. So I like that addition of throwing her in here because it's so unique for me within the Spider-Man universe. It's not like a normal friend he'd have. And she's a really dope character for the comics. So I thought that was awesome.
Played by Grace Song. You're right. I'm invested in her character immediately. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with Peter Parker. It's just such a different vibe than what I like, and it's like he's already too confident, and I'm like, no, you're not supposed to be confident. You're supposed to be Peter Parker. There's something there. I don't know. It's just not landing with me right now. It feels to me
that's
like it's
fair.
very flat in a way, but I think with the world they're building, there's going to be a lot of places to explore. Norman Osborn,
Yeah.
right away, knowing his identity at the end of episode 2 was such a big twist that I'm like, okay, holy cow. I mean, you're straight up using Tony Stark essentially from the MCU style. What are you going to do with this,
Yeah. So let's talk about it. I think that's a great jumping off point because it's like, where does this fall in the whole multiverse? We know that there's millions of possibilities, if not infinite possibilities. And this one, it seems like some things are exactly the same that we've seen in our main Marvel universe, but there's key differences. And one, to your point, is when Peter walks in and instead of seeing Tony sitting on the couch, he sees Norman Osborn. I like these little variations. It also
Yeah.
seems like he obviously wasn't bit beforehand. And so he was bitten a different way, kind of from like a multiversal spider. So it's just like, what if Peter wasn't bit by the spider in his universe, but a spider in a different one, which is kind of into the Spider-Verse, I guess, too. But either way, I like that it's like subtle changes.
I like seeing Doctor Strange. That's the only thing I liked about that whole thing. Like, just make it
Yeah.
the old Spider. Why does it have to be a multiverse Spider? Come on, yeah,
Yeah,
or
I
multidimensional
was
Spider, I guess. But yeah,
right. It seems a little convenient to like based on the phases we're in, but
right,
the Doctor Strange thing I thought was super dope, and then
yeah.
also to have a variant of Venom right off the bat. So now it's like Peter knows that there's a Venom symbiote. So if they ever
Was
get
that Venom?
there,
I wasn't positive on that because the way that Strange was fighting it, I thought might have been a demonic character or something like that. But it definitely had
yeah.
the eyes of Venom, like you're saying.
And it had like the same shades and everything, very much like the Venom that you see from like the 80s version that Steve Ditko drawn, which
Yeah.
to me, this looks like it's a Steve Ditko art piece. Like
Mhm.
even Peter's style, like they'll show you little clips of him, like the different variations that they could have drawn him like that were straight ripped from Ditko, where they kind of like updated it. Even with Norman Osborn, like even though they made him black as opposed to like the white guy that he is in the comics, his
Yeah.
hair and the suit and everything is just like Ditko's version.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I don't know. I just feel like this. I don't know if it's going to be explained. I think it's an interesting choice because originally when we heard that this was Spider-Man freshman year, we thought that this was going to be Tom Holland's origin. It's obviously not
Right.
that. And they're also not even really addressing that it's a multiverse situation. So that's also kind of unique. You know what I mean? Like they're not coming out and saying it. And I haven't read anything that says like this is a multiverse thing.
But it clearly is, right? Because it's variations
Yes.
on everybody. Like they're all variants. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm totally cool if you keep using these characters. I mean, Nico should definitely be brought into. I really like this version of Norman Osborn that we've seen so far. Bring that into the multiverse. We're gonna have a Secret War coming up, which if this was DC, then we know that these characters would be coming over, but we don't know with Marvel. It's just
Yeah.
it is odd the way that they're approaching this. But I want to echo this again. It is very enjoyable to watch. It was just maybe my hype. I was too hyped for it. Something new from Marvel. After the
Oh yeah.
are the early last year. We were watching at this time X-Men '97.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What are you gonna do? You got to compare a little bit.
Right. Like nothing's going to top it for me. Obviously, I'm so biased with it. But I
Yeah.
think the one thing that I walked away from whenever I was like, it's okay. Like I really enjoyed it actually. But I was just like, oh, it kind of matched my hype level.
Okay.
It's maybe sounds crazy to people. I love Spider-Man. I respect Spider-Man, but I'm not one of those people that like likes the A-list characters. Like I'm not usually like a massive Wolverine fan. I'm not a massive Batman fan. Like I love those stories and I love those characters and what they've done, but it's not like they're like my favorite of favorites. So it's like Spider-Man's cool for me, but it's not like something I flip out about. But I also walked away from this and then I thought, wow, this is really a show for kids. Like I
It
could
is
see this being
true.
like, I don't think this is made for me. Like I think this is made for like younger kids who haven't had the animated Spider-Man and now they want something, they can't wait for every Into the Spider-Verse or they can't wait for every Tom Holland movie. So now they have a show that they can watch while we wait for that stuff. I think like this felt like for kids.
You're so right. Yeah, because that's what I need to look at this as, like the old Spider-Man cartoon I grew up with, and when we were talking, I was like, you know what, this does feel a lot looser than the rules that we have in the MCU. And I was like, I remember there being multiple Spider-Man suits they announced with the show. Sure enough, I found it here. There's 5 different Spider-Man suits. Only 2 of them look like Spider-Man
Oh.
adjacent. Other ones look very radically different than I've ever seen. So it looks like they might just be having fun with this, and I need to kind of pull back a little bit on my like critique of it, or not my critique to these standards in which I'm holding it to. That's the thing.
Right. I mean, you could look at it as like, what if Peter Parker wasn't bit by his spider, but by a spider from Doctor
It's a
Strange's
long what
universe
if.
or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
can see it.
I did not really enjoy how What If ended this last season. I thought it
Right.
was didn't really live up to my standards. There were some episodes in there that I really dug. But I don't know. I think that when it comes to animation these days, just from the marketing in general too, it's like, I'm a Marvel fan, so I'll check it out. But I wasn't expected to be blown away by the series, and I feel like it
Mhm.
perfectly matched my expectation. Now, like getting into, all right, well, we don't have MJ in this universe. He has a whole different character. So because of him not getting bit by the spider, it seems like he's gone to the same school though, but it seems like it's different kids, right? It's Pearl instead of MJ.
Yeah.
It's Nico instead of Ned. So Yeah,
I kind
I
of
don't
thought
know.
maybe Pearl was going to be like the I can't remember her name, but the female interest or the love interest. I'm sorry, from the Homecoming one that was like a false
Oh
start or
yeah,
the red
yeah.
herring,
That's right. That's
Vulture's
right. What was
daughter.
her name? Was
I can't
yeah,
remember.
Vulture's daughter. It wasn't. Was she Gwen? I can't
No,
remember.
not Gwen. I know that wasn't Gwen. Yeah,
Yeah. I can't remember what her name is, but yeah, she was in that first movie, and then he goes to prom with her, Tom Holland Spider-Man. And
yeah.
then Tom Holland and Michael Keaton have the conversation in the car where Michael Keaton figures out he's Spider-Man.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
I forgot what that girl's name was. Yeah. But yeah, she
Yeah.
was an awesome actress too. And yeah, it seems like maybe you're right. Maybe she's a stand-in for that character. Pearl is for her.
Could be, and then maybe Nico will become the love interest, or maybe he doesn't need a love interest. Maybe maybe this is just we're gonna see some. We know it's already been greenlit for 3 seasons, so we have plenty of time to let this bad boy
Ooh.
breathe, have fun with it.
Mhm.
We know I'm looking at it right now. Daredevil's gonna be popping up, voiced by Charlie Cox, I presume, and so that's just a really nice little lead off into the Daredevil series coming up, which that I will be holding the highest of high standards. So get ready for that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I think that was fair because the internet apparently put a lot of pressure to make the story what it is. But
yeah,
this one, I think we had so much mixed information over the years before we got it. It's just like, okay, cool. I see this is the direction they went with it. I thought that action was pretty cool.
Mhm.
Anytime you get like the bands of Sidorak or is that right? No, that's more a Juggernaut. Anyways, the Chthon or whatever the bands are that Doctor Strange uses. I thought
Yeah.
that fight was cool. Him inverting the gravity in the gym. I thought that was sick. Him
Yeah.
using the Eye of Agamotto to try to reverse time, but then getting pulled back and he can't finish it. So the
Mhm.
bus still crashes in there. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Pete is trying to figure out, yeah, he's not good at being Spider-Man yet. And I like
Yeah.
that. One of my favorite moments when I was growing up from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was when he was first trying to figure out how to swing. And he jumps off the roof and he fails and he just like dives down. He
Yeah.
doesn't make it. Like all of that stuff I think is amazing, especially when you're seeing a young Spider-Man. And they had good moments like that in this episode.
They did fast forward a couple months though to kind of give us like from bite to he's already swinging to school. So they even skipped a little bit of that. And then
Yeah.
one of
They
the
give you
very
hints though.
well,
Like, so there's books on the shelf, and the books on the shelf, like they're untouched, and there's all this dust and webbing formed over it. So it
yeah,
shows you like he hasn't been
been
reading
shooting.
any of the books. Yeah, because he's been out being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
One of the early staples, though, of a Spider-Man story is him kind of like taking pictures of himself. And I think in lieu of that, in the modernization of this one, is that we're getting a big presence, a big social media presence. And I like that twist because that's even in the most modern Spider-Man movies, it's not seen a lot. It's always just the camera stuff. And so this one with him kind of being this like, oh, they're streaming you, you get a live stream while you're, beating up on this guy or whatever. The reactions to that, that's a modern twist that makes a lot of sense. And I'm interested to see if he'll pursue that almost in the same way that he is a photographer. And like, oh, I'm live stream, or, I caught Spider-Man last night on my live stream and it's actually just him swinging past his own camera or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Or maybe he does what we do. We like aggregate the news from everywhere and then we like repurpose it and use it for our social media. Like maybe
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what he's gonna do. I don't know. But there's
You
a
never
million
know.
ways they can take it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a million ways they can take it. But that part where he's fighting the bullies in the alleyway after he saves Harry, I thought that was, even though I saw it coming in the trailer, the part where he
Yeah.
grabs the brick after it's like thrown away and he brings it
That's
back and
clean.
slams that kid and they all go, ooh. I mean, it still made me chuckle. I still like had fun with that.
I literally have that frame up right now. I'm looking at it right now. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think Harry's going to be a fun character to explore too, because, hey, Harry Osborn doesn't stay nice all the time, and so will he follow his father's? Will his dad become a bad guy at all? I mean, we're just not seeing any signs of that as of right now. He might just straight up be the Tony Stark of this. And even I pulled up like the villains list and it shows like the normal Spider-Man Rogues Galaxy Gallery. Green Goblin's not on that list, so
Oh, nice.
you never know.
Yeah. This could be the foundation of it. I'm sure, because it's funny. He already knows he's Spider-Man. Does he also know that he saved his son? Like, did Harry go home and tell his dad, like, hey, this guy in a janky spider suit saved me and, I would be dead without him multiple times. So does he know that? I don't know. It adds like a whole different twist to it. But you're right. I like having that relationship because I think how good Ned was to Tom Holland's character or Tom Holland's Peter Parker, they almost couldn't make Ned a bad guy. Like they're just too good friends and Ned's too sweet and we want to see Ned win. But this Harry, you can already see like he's on the news. He looks like a cool guy. He's on like some red carpet. So there gives that element of like he could go bad depending on how his ego gets in the way.
Yeah. Now I presumed that Norman Osborn hired him because he saved his son. And when he told him like, when you come to the office, come to see me first. I don't think Harry did that. I think when he came into the office, he like right away got assigned to the lady and then, took his lunch break. So then when Norman Osborn, did he go meet Norman first? I don't think
no, he tries, remember? And the security guard's like, yeah, right. Like he's not going to let you. Yeah. So
I think that part where he says, oh, so you're Spider-Man was supposed to be day one, first second he comes into the building. That was what he's going to approach him with. And like, I know you saved my son. That's why you're here. I want to see what you can do. You invented the spider webs. So I have a feeling he was always knowing that. And that's the reason he got the job.
Ooh, interesting. That does change a lot. Yeah. Are they going to shy away from Norman Osborn being the bad guy? Because I think there was a survey that was done a long time ago and people were like, who is Spider-Man's arch nemesis? And it was almost overwhelmingly people were like Green Goblin. Yeah. So there is this association out in public that he's Spider-Man's biggest bad guy. So that does change so much by him knowing his identity right off the bat. Ooh, I don't know where they go with that, but that makes it interesting.
It's tricky because Norman Osborn and Dr. Octavius both have the same thing where they know Peter Parker and they know Spider-Man. So like that duality, of like, two different identities. They have two different identities. I think the tragic story of Octavius, of Dr. Ock makes him a little bit, less evil, I guess, in a way, but not with Norman Osborn. And then Venom, I don't know. He doesn't really have anything relationships with Peter Parker. He's just Venom. he's just the Joker and all this. And then he has his own Joker called Carnage, So, but so it is interesting. Yeah, I would say that Green Goblin is probably the number one villain.
Yeah, but I mean, if this is getting 3 seasons, I appreciate if they don't try to rush it. Maybe there's something that happens and then there's a turn at the end of the season and that allows, that kind of hate to blossom. And then season 2, that's more of the bigger bad. But you did bring up Dr. Ock, and instead of Dr. Ock in this episode, or is in episode 2, we get Dr. Connors, and it's pretty cool. They have gender swap. Dr. Connors, known as the Lizard, we've seen played by an amazing actor in all the Venom movies, and also in what is his name, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe as well. That guy is fantastic, but we always know it's Dr. Connors because of the name and because of the missing arm. But this time Dr. Connors wasn't a biologist or a biochemist. They were in charge of energy. So they've also changed some things with the origin of the Lizard in this show too. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? And she seems super nice. I mean, again, if you played the Spider-Man games or if you read the comics, they have a friendly relationship to start, and then it kind of goes sour. Yeah, as Dr. Connors becomes more and more evil. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Now I'm thinking with energy, and they talked about like, the Stark stuff, like talking about the reactor. I'm wondering if it's going to be. Yeah, I don't see it. They do have a Doc Ock on the list of villains here that they're going to be using. Yeah. Yeah, but I wonder if we'll see a more mechanical version of Lizard instead of being, because we have Scorpion here who looks like he's in a mechanical suit, but maybe it's like a more mechanical version of Lizard because it's energy based instead of being biological based.
Ooh, that would make sense, right? Like if they can harness the energy, then they can create these devices. And I like that they bring up, there's that part where Peter says, oh, we're trying to make something like Stark's arc reactor. And she's like, well, not that because it's patented, but something like that, something like that, yeah. So I think that leads some evidence towards that. But that was a funny call out. And it's a cool call out that the Avengers exist in this world. We just, it's still a kid trying to exist in a world that has the Avengers.
The little flying Iron Man that's on the mirror in the car. I thought was really cool. Yeah.
Like the air freshener or like just the fuzzy that you put on your mirrors. You see people. Yeah, that was sick. I was like, why did I do that?
One of the elements of the comic books that's not in the MCU at all is the fact that there are other superheroes and other not superheroes only, but also like companies and stuff like that in the world that do the same thing in a lot of ways. We've only in the MCU really been experiencing Stark, and Hammer comes in, but he's like totally meant to play second fiddle. But in the comic books, like LexCorp is just right up there with Stark all the time. And, you know, Parker Industries gets there too, and stuff like that. There's people that are very, very powerful that are not always the nice guy. So Mr. Fantastic is, always kind of doing stuff too. So it is cool to see that in this place we might have that, because if they're mentioning Stark, then that means that it's not that LexCorp replaced Stark in the story. It's just that he's also there, just on the side.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like they also mentioned Roxxon, and we've only started getting that in the MCU recently. Yeah, so Roxxon, big enemy in the games of like Spider-Man, if you play that for PlayStation. But yeah, they're also like an evil corporation. And Nico even says, she's like, what? You took a job with Harry or Norman Osborn? Like, don't tell me the next thing you're going to do is go work at Roxxon. So it's like already there's these negative connotations with these companies, which is amazing. Yeah. I love it. Speaking of Daredevil, I think it's something we could see too, because in the comics, Wilson Fisk also has a massive organization. Like he has his underground or like behind the scenes crime ring, but he also has like legitimate businesses and fronts that people are like, who just know him as a businessman. Well, I don't know if real life has taught us anything. Businessmen don't necessarily mean you're a good people, but like, yeah, but I think that's cool. Like these references to what you were saying.
We're going to have a big rose gallery. I mean, just looking at the villains list here and looking at the heroes too, it's not all about Peter Parker in this one. And I do like that version of this. And it's going to be like a Saturday morning cartoon. That's cool. I'm cool with that as well. Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. I would be remiss if we didn't shout out the rest of the kids that are part of the internship. That was super sick. We have a girl, I'm blanking on her name, from Wakanda, that actually has some comic origin too. I think that was super dope. And then also just bringing in like, hey, people from Wakanda are super technologically advanced because they have Shuri and the sciences and the vibranium is a part of their culture. But then you have also Amadeus Cho, who's one of the Hulks. Like before he turns into Amadeus Cho, I was like, whoa, that's a pretty cool like throw in there along with Nico. So there's like some potential for some younger not even Avengers, but just younger heroes to evolve in this story. I thought that was really sick how they slid them in there.
So also just looking at some of the voice acting talent that's behind this, apparently Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be playing Kingpin at some point too.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's dope. There you go.
Yeah. I think it was Asha was the one from, I'm pretty sure it was Asha that was from Wakanda.
Yeah, I forgot what she's a part of in the comics, but it's something like Strange Academy or something where she actually is born with powers. Like, I don't think she's a mutant, but she actually has inherent powers. Right. And then she's used in like the Wakandan circles and all that stuff. So that was a cool addition to the character.
You guys got to read Strange Academy. I need to catch up on that. I only read the first few issues, but it was so freaking fun. It's like Constantine meets the X-Men. It was a lot of fun. So check that out, guys. Nice. Yeah, that's a blast.
That's awesome.
All right. I'm ready to give a score on this. What about you?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to be giving this out of 5. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it's a 4, like a solid 4. I don't think I could push it to a 4.5 because, it's still too new, I think, for me to really get a grip on it. But I'm like very comfortable, solidly a 4.
Yeah. And I'm going to, and we're going to review this as they release them. So every couple episodes, we'll do an episode like this too. And we'll update our score as the time goes on. Because I think at the end of this, really seeing how these characters develop, you could tell they're really establishing a lot of characters now. So it's kind of hard to judge all of that. But these scores probably go up. I mean, let's see how it goes from there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing too that bumps it up is I like this relationship with Aunt May as well. And it's like a freshly Uncle Ben-less Aunt May, right? She's still wearing her ring, and that part where she leans over to hug him and has the seatbelt get stuck. I think it's good. Like I like seeing Aunt May again, and they have, I think they're setting her up really well. And I don't know.
Even where he's saying like the school will be a good distraction, it means that it happened probably in the last few months, really. So that's a really good shout out on that one. Good call. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Our next episode coming out very soon will be all about Catch Me If You Can, and we had the guys from Collateral send them on. It's a wild, chaotic episode. I even had to do the recording of the beginning of that because I'm like, it's a chaotic episode. Just to get ready for that. But I haven't told you about this, but I am officially announcing it with you right now. We are going to be giving away, in honor of Captain America: Brave New World, a $25 Fandango gift card. All you guys got to do is by February 10th. That way you can win the Fandango gift card and then buy your tickets for Captain America in time. By February 10th, send us a picture of any review from Spotify or Apple Podcasts to any of our social medias for Challenge Accepted. It's all over the place. And you're going to be entered to win one of these gift cards. And then, you guys can watch Captain America on us. That'll be great. That sounds good.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Heck yeah. Send in those reviews, people. We really appreciate it. It's going to help the podcast grow and be discovered. But also, like, it's just great feedback for us. And it's like, it really brightens our day. We want to, we really do try to put our all into this podcast. And it's like, it's just nice to get some feedback. So please.
Even when our brain's not there, we're here.
yeah. Which is most of the time. So sorry about that. But yeah.
Oh, goodness.
But. Yeah, definitely.
Appreciate that,
we got some good ones coming up. Oh,
we do.
Gosh. Can't wait for Captain America. It's going to be a great time.
Me too. Oh, all right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Aloha.